Welcome everybody to the new H2O Network and AstrorisaMoon forecast show. It's new because it's a new month. It's May. Last time we were together was back in March of this year 2016. So today is May 26, 2016. Welcome to the show, Radia.
Hello, greetings, sis. Yeah.
we're like, what do we say? Before we got on the show, we were just looking at everything. We're looking at this cosmic picture of where we are. We were bouncing off a lot of different topics with what is going on, and we get together from time to time, and we're going to continue to get together from time to time during this year and moving forward. But we want to get together when there's pivotal moments building and occurring, so that you can get the 411. We can talk about the 411, and those that wish to dialogue with us, we can all be on the same page and know what's going on. So I want to tell the audience that this is really an important time that we're living in right now. Of course, every moment is important, but this is an important time because this is a moment when these cosmic energies, these cosmic O2 energies, are really peaking right now to give rise to something really huge that's about to manifest. And we've been feeling it for a moment. There's peaks and there's lows. And so we get together when we're noticing a peak. So this is a peak time. It's really important for those that get the moon forecast readings, really pay attention to this one, the May. We did the March show. We wanted you to pay attention to that. We're asking you now to pay attention to the May forecast because it's lining things up for the months to come. It's important to look at it because it's the Sagittarius full moon. And this Sagittarius full moon begins May 21st, and it's at 1 degree. And then it's going to graduate until June 20th, when it's going to hit 29 degrees. So we've got 30 days of a very pivotal moment. It's going to manifest something. It's letting you know that something is coming. If you pay attention to the moon, if you follow the moon, you'll be able to begin to calculate that there's going to be peaks. One of those peaks, what's going to be coming up. Also, the reason why this is a pivotal time, not just because we're going to deal with a double Sag energy or a consistent Sagittarius Abatala Ochosi energy moving into June, but also because June 17th, during this 30-day time period, we're going to experience a Saturn exact square in Neptune, June 17th. The other thing I wanted to also mention to you all, again, going back to our March show that H2O Network and I did together, we were talking about pivotal moments during January 2016 to December, and we gave you some specific dates to look at, pay attention to. We are now in that second phase of pivotal times, important moments, and so that time frame began May 2nd and will continue to July 1st. These are peak times that we're looking at. So, Radia, we talked about that, and what was said was that from May 2nd to July 1st, 2016, this is a heightening time of heightening the danger that can come to us. Right? And it's about those that are in power, those that are in a position that can affect large groups of people must really be careful of what they say and what they do. Be really careful about selling wolf tickets. We mentioned that before. Be very careful about flexing your muscles and showing how powerful you are, because it will draw a reaction, a very strong reaction. So that's the phase that we're in right now. No, we're not trying to scare people. We're just saying, you know, if a mountain is rumbling, we're going to say, get off the mountain. That's not to scare you. That's just common sense. And so this is a time for us to utilize and execute common sense because, again, if you paid attention to the moon forecast, this Sagittarius or Vatala 1 degree moon is going to exact a lot of energy. Whatever it is that you are saying or doing, you are going to draw that in.
Okay.
So that's my opening.
You're like, that's my opening. I just am sitting here and there's just so much to say. And, you know, I said to Astrorisa that if y'all ain't in front of a Legbo Gun and Ochosi, I mean, y'all should be doing that anyway. And I'm speaking to a culturally specific group because I feel like I have to say it. There's going to be problems because when you have the element of Ogun, you have Mars going backwards, okay? Mercury was going backwards. Now Legba's planet is going forwards. We have to realize that we are going to a higher level of elevation. What that is on the outside of us and inside of us, we don't know yet. Well, inside of us, we should know, but outside of us, we don't know. So we have to be very, very careful with the things that we say and that we do because Ogun and that you can't have evolution without Ogun. Evolution starts with cutting things away. And the deep thing is that we have all of these elements in the element of Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is the higher mind. So not only do we have what you just spoke of, we have all of these elements, these eclipses from last year with Libra, Aries, and Virgo and Pisces in the relationship house. Now we're coming around, we're still carrying that ball, and we're going into this year, and we're trying to look, well, the universe is trying to force us to look at things from a higher perspective. Sagittarius is the higher mind, Gemini in astrology is the lower mind, the analytical, the logic mind against spirituality, faith. And this is why, I think about the reading of the year as well when Spirit was like, Ele da, your head. And then you said you have to use your common sense. And I think a year ago, actually, we talked about at the end of the year how we are being recalibrated and retuned in our reality to basically walk the walk and talk the talk, meaning honing in and using our spiritual tools to be able to navigate this real world reality. Bringing, the higher mind, the ethics of morality and ethics of the higher philosophy of how we think of the world and ourselves against Gemini, the logic, the sort of kind of airy non-feeling. We're being forced. And then, of course, let me go back to Sagittarius and Saturn. Hello, goodbye, karma, the planet of karma. The element of the judge. So all around us, as we had that new moon in Gemini, just as opposed to, what is it, Sagittarius, that opposition, we're really being pulled to bring everything up to the surface. And then since I just thought, I have so many things going on in my head, I can't even think straight. We have, Mars going into Scorpio, which is real deep because it's like Ogun is saying the energy that we know to be Ogun is teaming up with the energy of Oya and going backwards saying, oh, okay, so you don't want to deal with reality? Oh, you don't want to use your head? Remember the reading of the year, Eleda is your head, your consciousness. The way that you think. Are you going to take the high road of the chariot or are you going to take the dark horse? So you have this new moon in Sagittarius, Gemini, which let's not forget the two faces, Alegba and Eshu. Then you have the higher mind, Obatala, and all of these things. Which road are which road is going to be taken? Are we paying attention to the truths that are being presented to us through the element of the sunshine, Gemini? Because I believe we had the new moon and then we had the Sagittarius full moon, but it was still opposite. They switched with each other, so the sun was illuminating what the moon could not show you.
You know, when you said, when you mentioned that Sagittarius, Saturn, that karmic energy visiting Sag, and you mentioned Gemini, and this, people just stop for a moment and just let's concentrate on just that for this moon time, moving into the next one, because that's really key, what you just said. Why? Because Sagittarius, if we're going to look at lunar energy, let's say that this is a Sagittarius moon. It's an Abatala Sagittarius moon. But now let's look at it, because it's in it's having a relationship with Saturn, it becomes a karmic moon. If it is now a karmic moon, then we are dealing with the energies of North Node, South Node. Now, what is the South Node of Sagittarius? Gemini.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? And so they're flipping each other. And they're going to flip that kind of energy. So we're going to start off with a Sagittarius Abatala moon, which we did 5 days ago. That began its course. Now it's going to dive down by the time we get to June 4th. It's going to dive down, still torpedoing itself, still flavoring everything with its energy, and rising up from that comes that Gemini new moon. Okay, so there's a flip. All right, so we're going to go from a Sag North Node to a South Node expression. Then we're going to move into a Gemini moon. It's going to go from a Gemini North Node to a Sag South Node expression. Then it's going to flip itself again as the next second full Sag moon rises up by the end, near the end of June. So all of this transpiring in this arena, this arena of Sag decant, we have to really pay attention to this flip-flopping and really understand the Sagittarius Gemini, which is Abatala, and in this case, H2O energy, that more real kind of, wild kind of energy. So when you are dealing with a Sag North Node experience, now even though if you look at the zodiac for right now for this Sagittarius moon, I mean the North Node is not in a Gemini position, but let's deal with the expression of the Sagittarius moon and its South Node, which is Gemini. So you got Sagittarius energy, and that when you're dealing with that, that's allowing a person to like hone into their intuitive skills. Now let's bring that Gemini H2O energy up in there. Let's flip that. And when that's flipped, it brings all kinds of confusion. It muddles up your facts. It throws your honing skills off. So when you talked about Ogun saying, I'm about to leave this house. I'm about to go next door to Oya's house, and you're all going to follow me whether you want to or not, but I need to know, have y'all been paying attention?
Okay. Since you said that, what about the full moon in Scorpio, which, by the way, is a karmic moon within itself, Oya, and it's being dragged, that energy is being dragged along with what I'm talking about, with what you're talking about, on top of all this stuff, because we are in a 9-year.
Yeah.
So no matter where you go, you are going to get that full moon karmic Oya Scorpio type of energy being dragged on. And I was looking at other astrologers talking about the full moon in Scorpio and how big of a deal it is. and how long-lasting it would be, for that very fact that it was a 9-year, and it's in the house of, you know, Scorpio, and you have the judge. I was just like, oh, man, it's very quite profound. You cannot run. You cannot hide. It doesn't matter where you go. Ogun and Oya and that energy that you're speaking of will continue to drag us forward. But the question is, again, what side of the fence is one going to be on? Through the essence of LA Da. 29 degrees Sagittarius, 2 and 9 is 11. That's pretty heavy. It reminds me.
That's a karmic expression in itself, a numerological aspect.
Absolutely.
So it's like karma, 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 and when you're dealing with karma, life sends you a punch. You know, when you weren't doing anything, or you thought you weren't doing anything. I'm just walking down the street, and yes, life throws you a punch. But we have to use our head, because whether that punch connects or we're able to duck, what are we going to do after it connects? What do we do afterwards? That is the telltale sign about how we're going to navigate through this karmic experience. So we are talking about, you know, I sound like a broken record. You know, we come at many different angles, my water sister and I, all to sum up something. Because when you're dealing from a shamanistic perspective, it's not linear thinking. It's not we start here and then we end over there. We draw everything in. We're connecting the dots, and then we're putting it all on a table. And the pattern that it creates is the pattern that we have to look at and investigate. So this is just it's really mind-boggling this time. It's kind of difficult for me to even just key in on one thing, even keying in on one thing, and then I draw a lot of different comparisons and bring a lot of different info on that one thing. It's really difficult to do that with this moon time. I'm just going to keep saying, pay attention to, or better yet, study the Sag expression. Study that. Find where Sagittarius falls in your chart. You're correlating that with Batala and how Batala, if you have Itaz, look at your Itaz and what does Batala say to you about within your Itaz. Pull all that in and come up with a viable plan on how you're going to navigate through these next couple of months, because the next exact square, Saturn exact square, is sometime in September. We're now again in a phase where cosmically something is growing, and if we don't make the right or correct or best choices, if we allow our ego to take control, we're going to put ourselves and other people in situations that they just don't want to be in. This moon time Sagittarius moon, full moon, first degree, is a report from an Orisa perspective. It is said, what was thought to be finished isn't finished. That's profound for me. Okay, we're dealing with karmic energy. This first degree moon is signifying and signaling that we are building or creating something on a karmic level. Many of you just think about what has been going on in your personal life, things you thought were done, situations you thought were completed, conversations you thought were done, things are coming back. Yeah? How are you going to handle that? Because all we can do is just handle ourselves. We have no control over other people. But then those that are in governmental positions. This moon time is a make or break for those in these really big government positions, or positions that affect other people. Because what you thought was done is not done. What you thought you hid will rise to the surface. And if you don't make the best decision for the whole, which means that your ego you're sitting on your ego, it's going to be a problem. And we just don't know yet what that's going to look like.
It's going to get real, yeah, it's going to get real deep in a minute on many different levels. There's so many layers, sis, when you talk about this, because, again, going back to the beginning, when we started this, all of this activation in these relationship houses, not just relationship outside of yourself, but relationship with self, your interpersonal identities in relationship, and humanity's identity philosophy, a.k.a. religion about themselves, is now being highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
You have this opposition with, Gemini. And squares create a kind of tension that demands action. However, opposition creates tension, but in a different type of way, in which one needs to seek others in relationships in order to work things out and work out that tension. You're being forced, you're being compelled to do that, to use your logical mind and transfer it over into your spiritual mind, as you just said, for the whole.
Mm-hmm.
How can we solve or work on these karmic relationships together as a unit coming together? And I'm giving an example from outside of myself, because as you can see, what's going on politically in the arena
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of other places, we're being forced to really look at these things with a clear mind. The pulsating beat of humanity and what they're doing now gives you a calibration of like where people's consciousness is at. And I'm not even going to lie to you, it's a little scary.
Very scary. Yeah, where people's conscious mind is extremely scary.
And this will do it is very scary. So it's going to be interesting to see what, and I'm just saying from a political aspect and other things, what it's going to percolate. But then again, the letters of the year, as an elder told me, this is the year where we can see many things that we've never seen before. You understand what I'm saying? Because things from the subconscious are now being pushed to the forefront. Frustration. Mars going backwards and retro has everything to do with that. That's why they say when Mars is going backwards, especially in the elements of Scorpio, death, regeneration, and so on and so forth, the heat, the fire coming up to the surface to get cut away can get real tricky, because it can be very hostile in nature. But again, which side of your consciousness are you going to use to be a problem solver? Are you going to use Sagittarius, higher mind, or Gemini, the lower aspect of reality? This stuff gets so complicated, sis. I have so much going on in my head right now. There's so much to talk about when it comes to just these portals opening up of change, because it's happening at so many different levels.
Well, the conscious mind, talk about the conscious mind being scary, which it is. Our collective conscious mind at this point is very scary. The world is very much looking at what we in the United States is going to do. And with that being said, I have to then reiterate, go back to and repeat that the Sag 1 degree moon time says What was thought to be finished isn't finished. So, if everybody's like having on a collective issue, a collective level, issues with reality, issues with using the higher mind, and things are not done, then is it safe to say that we really need to be aware that history can repeat itself?
I'd say you took the words right out of my mouth. Indeed.
Okay.
Yep.
So what is going on? What's percolating between May 2nd and July 1st that can create something that has happened, maybe not in a lot of the listeners' lifetime, and some who are older have, but history is building to repeat itself. Now we can talk later on, like, well, what can you do? I think those are going to be conversations that people will be having, if not yet having, what they can do. I know, we know people are talking about, you got your passport? But I've had a lot of people say, you got your passport? I got mine. But, I mean, I laugh, because you need to bring a little bit of some kind of laughter in this. But it's really serious. It's really serious. Then you talk about the Mars, Ogun, moving into the house of death, transformation, karma in itself, the epitome of karma, on a spiritual Orisha level, the house of Egun. That's deep.
Hello, yes it is. It sure is, girl. Very much so.
Which then, let's see. Which is moving towards that second square, Saturn exact square Neptune in September. So, this is like the most stumping time for me.
Well, it's deep because, and we've had these conversations, not on recording or on air. It's deep. Well, it's deep because the unseen is replicating what's in the physical, meaning there's a lot of karmic Egun activity going on, a.k.a. we are working out and evolving in all types of levels here, but the same thing is going on Egun-wise. This is what I mean in practical terms, family. The Egun connection is the internet is being connected. People have emailed me all year about, oh my God, I've been having these dreams and I saw so-and-so and so. I found out family information and now I can connect the dots about why A, B, and C happens to me. I have heard so many people say that they found out things about their family that they had no idea existed, and now they understand this karmic thing that's going on. For example, in my family, we have reproductive issues. I found out some things. I don't want any kids, but I'm just saying, like, all the women on my mom's side of the family have had reproductive issues. They don't have wombs. My mom had a hysterectomy when I was born, and she almost lost her life. My aunt had a hysterectomy. You know what I'm saying? I'm the only female on that side, the older, that hasn't had, like, really serious, issues. But then I connected the dots to the womb, the ancestral karmic things, because I found out some things about my grandparents. I'm talking about information like that, family, to where it's so profound that if you are in the essence of understanding that that information will give you a better understanding as to why you may have a certain spiritual path, because you're literally karmically, by what you're doing right in the here and now, clearing up familial curses. Literally. That's how deep this time gets. And I can only speak for myself, but that's why it's so profound to me, because there are many different levels of like karmic debt being paid, contracts being revoked. And when I say revoke, like 1 minute, bada bing, you're married, but the next minute you're not. And like Egun has literally pushed him out of the ether. You understand what I'm saying? And you look at yourself like, did that just happen? Or like you had a friendship that you've had for like decades upon decades, and all of a sudden you fulfilled that karmic contract, and it's done. And then something like chaotic, very SU-like happens, and you no longer have contact. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Indeed. Or like one day you're in school and you've been going to university and you're sitting in class, and at one point in your life you were gung-ho about the degree, and then all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're like, good God, what am I doing? This is not where I'm supposed to be. There is no fear. Well, there are two dynamics. When you have that realization, there's all of a sudden you get this fear that comes over you like, holy shit, the realization blows your mind. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know how to act. And then there are the other side of the coin where you have that realization and you feel free and you surrender and you feel like a brick has been lifted off your back, and now you can move forward and leave everything behind and not sweat it. So there are two dynamics going on at the same time. And again, going back to that Gemini energy, the two faces, the twins, Eshu Alegba, it can be hot, it can be real good and airy. It can be hot, and then you have Mars going backwards. Anytime, family, a planet goes backwards, regardless of what it is asking you to look closer, to look deeper, to look at your philosophical reasoning, ideals, religion, not just spiritual religion, but what you created for yourself and how you think.
Right on.
We're in a time where we're being recalibrated.
Right.
Literally.
We had 5 planets go retrograde. That's like not normal,
No, it's not. And to have 2 moons or moons in the same sign, like when was the last time you heard of that?
Right. So all these very interesting rarities happening in 2016. We've been building up to that. So connecting the dots. When we started talking on air, and we talked about this Sag and Gemini, and why it's important to really pay attention to this time period and learn as much as you can and associate it with you and to you and to your experiences. And we're talking about the fact that this is a karmic time, and you're connecting the dots with, since we've been talking since December and probably before that, how this egg wound situation is really building for people karmic, where they're getting so much more information about themselves and their family, and when did Saturn move into Sag? Wasn't that, what was that, 2014, 15?
Something of that nature. I believe so. I think it was 14, yes, because it transit until 2017, so that's 3 years.
Yeah, 2014, the latter part of 2014. Okay, and from 2014 to 2017. So we're all experiencing karmic expressions, karmic situations. I mean, Sag very much wants to understand. It wants to know. I mean, so does Gemini, and they're the flip side of each other. They want to really understand, and they want to really know. Gemini seeks it Sag seeks it as well, but Sag has the resources to get that information. So all of this is happening since it's exaggerating itself since 2014. Karmic situations, karmic expressions with relationships, because I think it was at one point in Libra or something like that, 7th house or something of that nature, dealing with that Libra energy. Relationships with people that you've known for years, as you just mentioned. And it began to deteriorate. And it just started escalating in its deterioration. 2014, things are being revealed, and it keeps happening. Okay, so now let's move to where we are right now. Again, this May time, this May moon, this is a rarity. Sag 1 degree to Sag 29 degrees within 30 days. That's a rarity. It is in the house of karma, a different kind of karma than Scorpio, but it's still a house of karma. It's a house of institutions, the ability to withstand from generation to generation. It's in that house. Or I should say Saturn is visiting, Saturn is visiting Sagittarius. Okay, so you have that relationship between those two. And so everything is just really building. It's really building. And so this is why, like I said, you and I, we had so much in our head. We were like, we have to connect these dots. We know what we're talking about. It's just too much to talk about. So
well, you know, I just thought
we got to put it together.
We do. And you know, when you said that, and we actually talked about this before we decided to get on air, we're literally, going to cosmic school right now.
Yes.
We're being taken to school. The question is, are you intelligent and have enough wisdom enough to figure that out? And this is what makes this so deep. Because it's not just outside of us, it's with ourselves, it's with our relationships. Why? Because our identities is what percolates and makes things a certain way in this reality. I'll give you an example so I don't sound, like the Riddler or something like that. We have used the same patterns in our reality for so long, and some people are still in the same place wondering, like, why am I not getting anywhere? Why am I not on my destiny? Sagittarius comes in, boom. I'm here to teach you some. We're going to go to Cosmic University. So you can bring this information down and use it in your practical world of reality along with your logic mind. Being a strategic mover, but in a very ethical and spiritual type of way. Change your philosophy. Change your alchemy. Another example. A lot of elemental signs. One of the things as well, before I get into that, Sagittarius is mutable. I believe Gemini is as well.
They are.
This cosmic university is teaching us how to be mutable in our reality so we can pull and manifest the right things towards us.
Right.
I'm a fire sign. I'm a Sag. Aquarius moon, Cancer rising. However, the alchemy of that signature has been wonderful for me, but it's been a detriment as well. So, in other words, we are being given the tools to use our reverse alchemy, which we all have, in a different type of way to get me to a better destination. I've been on the underground, and I plan on staying that way. That's not like a fire sign.
No.
No. We're being very observant. I'm staying in my own world. I'm percolating because I have a mission. I'm being strategic. I am being the daughter of Shango. I'm being very strategic, art of war in nature. Water signs are looking at their emotional element of reality within them. If you are over-emotional in the past and it didn't get you to your destination, you really need to analyze that. How can I internalize and not outwardly put my emotions and have control of my emotions and be stealth? In other words, you're using what's being activated is a different type of alchemy within you so you can navigate and get to where you have to go. Those that have never spoken up for themselves, all of a sudden you see them stepping out the box like, no, this is the boundary. I'm going to speak, I'm going to stand in my truth. I've seen all kinds of things this year. So in other words, what has always worked for people in the past, now people are beginning to get that higher knowledge and figuring out, wait a minute. I can activate a different type of alchemy in my life to get the ire that one needs by going within. That's another reason why the letter of the year talked about eleda, thinking differently, using your head, and strengthening your spiritual practice. That's the only way you're going to get this information is if you go within. You know thyself. You analyze thyself. You use a different alchemy. Another one for me, I'll give an example so people understand. Y'all know my mouth. My mouth can be something else. But I have worked on that. And there's a time and a place for the alchemy of LA However, since October of last year, I've done a lot of uncharacteristic type of things that people have never seen before, and it scares them. But in my heart, I'm smiling. Because I'm moving, I'm a fire sign, but I'm moving like air and I'm moving like water in a different type of way. So this is what's being activated through situations, people, places, and things. Mars, going back to Mars is action, it's passion, it's desire, it's moving forward. It gives you the energy and the ache to cut things away. But when it retreats and goes backwards, you analyze. How am I going to move? Analyze your energy. Okay, so I've used this fiery type of energy and it actually caused conflict. Let me look at that. Maybe if I do this different type of alchemy, meaning silence or being like still water to get me a different result. Bada bing, bada boom, you're in cosmic school. I have learned that this year, for real, for real. And it amplifies when you have that higher thinking activated in the essence of Sagittarius.
Wow, you've explained well. You've explained it perfect. What this is about? This conversation is about analyzing this karmic time that we're experiencing going into 2017. Looking at this particular moment. And looking at that Sag-Gemini expression and what do we need to do for those who have not yet connected that dot as you have already and recognized that you have to flip things. And this is the time, this is the moon, the 30 days work on people. Look at how you're going to flip things. If it's not conducive and it has not been working for you, then you have to look at it north node, south node, up, down. And if you're operating from the south node perspective of you're constantly doing things how you used to, you got to north node that, and vice versa. So some people may have to go back and retrieve things which they put aside that were actually very helpful. And it got new and brand new with themselves and caused themselves problems. So that's perfect, a perfect explanation of why we are doing this show, why we're pulling all this kind of information and we're saying, what was before comes again. How does that look? It can look like anything, but look at how you're going to identify that in your own life and make some kind of changes. So, you talk about going underground and because you are a fire sign, you're very fiery, but right now you are stealth, like air. So, for those that are listening, what is it that you've been doing over and over again that is not working out for you, that you need to go ahead and change? What is it that you're afraid to address? It's not going anywhere. So why are you afraid to address it? And what do you think you need to push you towards addressing it? This is definitely a moon time where we need to do, just as Dia is saying, you have to go back and look and readdress some things. We definitely need to take care of our head. Definitely need to take care of our head. And we're going to have to really do a lot of head work for the rest of this year. And this comes up in the moon forecast readings every single time. You talked about that Sag, Sag, that fire, depending on what decan there is, the mouth, they'll either spout right off or they'll wait, give it some time. But either way, they're going to, when they let it go, they let it go. And with this Sag moon time, one of the things that is said is that negative words and conversations can cause a cancellation in our plans. We have to think and speak positively. We've got Mars at 2 degrees at the time of this moon time forecast, which was May 21st. So that's cutting, that's canceling. We're tapping into that Mars and moon energy. So we got to really watch what we're saying. Also, we really, and like you said, we got to deal with Allegra and Ogum. For those that know and those that can, really pay attention to that, because this is a very important time where things can go either way. And based on what you know, like I said, he who knows does not die like he who does not know. So if you know better, you have to do better, because this is a karmic time and you're going to create a karmic reaction. So negative words and conversations at this moment can do more of a cancellation. You can feel it more than you would have a few moons ago. We really have to, again, it's our mouth, it's our words, we have to really pay attention to what we're saying. Just because you think it doesn't mean you need to say it. I mean, you're clearly speaking that, dear. You're clearly speaking that, and you're picking up on it. And that's that Sagittarius energy, and that's what it's asking people to do. Flip things, and do things differently. That's what it's about. This is just really, I can go on and go on and go on.
I'm just about to say something about, slipped my mind. Oh, we're like literally closing up a trine. It's almost like a portal. You have a period of time where a group of planets and conjunctions and rare ones happen, and it's the beginning of the trine, and now the trine is coming around and closing up. And now we're on review. And we had a warning of this 2 years in a row when Yemayano Batala came here, and they're like, yo, check it out. My children, you need to, they talked a lot about mental illness, the mind, the way you think, what you do, so on and so forth. Nobody listened.
Nobody listened. People, right?
Not enough. Well, y'all, when I say nobody listened, I mean in huge masses, because the people that are listening to us and other spiritual things, they like, yo, we got the memo. We are on the underground. We're doing our thing. We're getting this information, and we're figuring this out so we can gather the sticky notes. Because let me tell you something, the henchman has come to town, and that's Mars going backwards, and Olegba and his homeboy hanging out and going backwards together. That's a very rare occurrence when Mercury and Mars go backwards together, and when Mercury goes forward and then Mars stays backwards. That's not a transit that happens all the time. So, they're like, yo, we're going to send in the henchmen, and we're going to create the essence of death at every level possible, because my children have gotten the warning. They have the evidence all around them of the destruction that one is creating inside themselves, outside of themselves, in their relationships. No more essence of superficiality. We have the node of Virgo. Virgo is all about substance. What substance are we creating in the essence of our lives? Is what we speak matching up in what we do? What is our philosophy about me and you? What is that about? Are we living in the essence of superficiality or the truth? Okay, and another thing about Saturn, y'all, anytime Saturn is in a sign or pairs up, Saturn is very non-tolerant of anything that's not authentic.
Mm-hmm.
If that shit is a fugazi, it's getting rid of it, whether you like it or not. That's what it does. Saturn gets things in order and senses in Sagittarius from a higher level of philosophy, thinking, religiosity, spirituality, the occult, research. How are you doing things? See, because we can shoot our arrow, but what's around us? We might accidentally end up shooting our own mother. And actually, there is an apataki that speaks of, well, Chelsea shooting his arrow up in the air and not paying attention, he ends up killing Yemaya.
Mm-hmm.
Are we paying attention to the details of things? Saturn is very detail-oriented. It shows you the element of your weaknesses on purpose. Why? So you can create synthesis, the crack in between Gemini and Sagittarius, the higher mind, the lower mind, and bringing synthesis and bringing it together, using that synthesis as a doorway to have a different perspective in order to gain what one really needs in order to move on their path. You see, because as human beings, we make choices and we know deep down inside that they're not really good for us. We're at that job knowing that their ethical and moral standard is not what we stand for, but we go and we get a paycheck anyway. Saturn's like,
Mm-hmm.
What do you really live for? Or is that matching up? We're in relationships with friends. We give more than what we get, so the scales are unbalanced. Really? Okay. And you're being inauthentic to fit in a certain niche. Saturn's like, no. Well, you know what? That's not gonna work. That ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not the truth. That's not authentic in nature. And if you haven't done it, we're going to make you feel so uncomfortable on the inside and make that passion, that fire, be so heavy in your heart that you just literally can't stand anymore. You're going to leave a job. You're going to leave a relationship because all of a sudden you're going to get a sudden truth. You are blocking my path. Sagittarius is all about the truth.
Now, you know, as you were going and saying that, and I was thinking, I was like, now, I could just hear some people I know asking this question. Because Saturn does not accept anything that's unauthentic, and it removes those things. And it's saying to us, you need to use your higher mind. But yet here we are in this political arena where people have no daggone sense. No. They are just talking crazy. But we have to also look at Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn. So, okay, so we're getting these like almost quadruple challenges on a karmic level. I say quadruple challenges because like we just have so many, we can pinpoint so many areas where that's a karmic expression, that's a karmic expression. So here's another karmic expression. If Pluto, who is Oya, is visiting Capricorn, we know that's Avaloye's place. And she's not at her highest octave. So they're saying, listen, we're going to give you a situation where things that should be, that build up, we're going to allow to tear down. At the same time, we're saying to you, you need to get it together. You need to be able to figure out, pay attention and figure out what's truth and what's falsehood.
Actually,
because we're going to give you what you think you want. We're going to give you an experience where the masses are like, we want change. We don't like the way the institutions are going right now. We want change. But did you all ask what kind of change you wanted?
Okay.
Did you pay attention to the type of change you want? Did you work towards a specific change to get a specific result? Or did you say, just burn it down?
Right.
We're going to give you just burn it down. We're going to give you that. And now it's up to you to use your head to determine the path that you are now currently taking. Is it a sensible path?
And is it real? Because didn't you say something about Neptune going retro? That's going to get real deep.
Oh, because Neptune is all up in this.
Neptune is, is where you find in your chart where you tend to deceive yourself and or others. And it's also where you seek the ideal. Mm-hmm. This is why this spiritual time is so deep and profound, because your intuition, when you are working on thyself, when you are going within and you hone in those skills, people cannot do the okie doke. But if you're in a place of delusion, Neptune is many things. It's beautiful. It's the when I think of Neptune, I think of Olokun, I think of Egun and all those things. But there's a flip side. It's where we deceive ourselves. We see the train coming. We see the bonfire, the brigade of fire coming. Meanwhile, Suzanne, Becky, and Tanya, they in the forest. I told you this story when we was up here. They're like, oh my God, I just want to get illumination. But you and your intuition, you standing, Shaniqua and Tanya, they standing to the side. And they're like, wait a minute, y'all. I feel the intuition. That bonfire, you think that is spiritual, whatever, is coming towards us. But the other group is like, oh no, I want to feel the essence. I want to feel it. And meanwhile, y'all like, okay, wait a minute, we going to leave because we feel on the intuitive side, shit ain't right. Meanwhile, you got y'all and them spinning like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And you're like, Tanya, come this way. They're like, no, we still don't believe that. Meanwhile, y'all and them is like, yeah. Shanko's like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? We'll see y'all later. The other group standing in the forest like, no, we want to feel the fire. Meanwhile, the red flag is coming right towards them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not using their internal fire, their intuition, and it's right in front of their face. Meanwhile, your friends, Becky and all them, then left. They're like, yo, I'm not coming back outside. I'll throw you a rope. You know what I'm saying? They said use LA dive, but y'all still up in the forest trying to get, illuminated and whatnot, whatever. We told y'all they was coming through the forest, okay? Yeah, your weed didn't get knocked off. Your head got knocked off. Okay, girl. You like, girl, I'm sorry, girl. We'll try to get a surgeon out there as soon as we can, girl. I tried to warn you. Okay? No. We have to use the essence of our intuition to decode what is the truth. What are we being deceived by? Is this real? Someone may be offering you a cookie, but it could really be like, something else.
It could be a poopy cookie.
It could be like a Duke pie. You think, what was that if there was some movie, I think what's the name of this movie? I can't remember. It'll come to my tongue. She was getting revenge. The maid, the help, that's what it was called.
I never saw it. The movie. But I know what you're talking about. I know the movie. The maid was getting revenge on the one that was creating chaos and destruction and so on and so forth. Homegirl, she was famous for her pie. She gave her a pie. And she was so oblivious, the woman who hired her, of her cruelty and what she was doing, and she was getting red flags, and she was so used to certain things, she ate the pie and it was a dookie pie. Crazy. Not paying attention, thinking that so-and-so was her friend, but she created cruelty.
on her. Not taking, that's another thing. I'm digressing and going another way, but it all connects. Creating cruelty and doing certain things and not getting the red flags. Yo, you're indoctrinating me. You're not being fair. This time is also about fairness. Taking responsibility. Meanwhile, you're getting served a platter of something not so nice. You think it's one thing, but it's really something else because you're so untuned in.
Because Sag, Gemini, North Node, South Node, Moon is also about someone saying or doing what you want them to say or do. Basically, you're hearing, I'm going to tell you what I want you to hear or what I think you want to hear. I'm going to mask that. That's what that is.
Yes, ma'am. Meanwhile, they bamboozling you and creating treachery.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, going back to, again, so we connect the dots to Orisha, there's a story in the letter of the year about the spider and the two flies. And basically, the proverb, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that goes with it is an unending war. It's a war that will always be what it is because people's characters and whatnot, whatever, are what they are. And you have to come into acceptance of that, and you cannot have this idealistic reality about people, places, and things. No. And the story goes as such, and I'll butcher it down, so we'll do the Dia version. It's two flies, and it's the spider clan. Not very good friends, but the two flies have this party, and they're like, oh, spider clan, come to our home and have this party. And meanwhile, in the spider clan, they're like, oh, but these people aren't good. We got the red flags. We're going to give them another chance. Let's go, you guys. Come on. So like dummies, they go to the party. Meanwhile, the fly, the two flies in their little clan, they're making fun of them. And all of a sudden, they take a bucket of hot water and throw it. And the spiders have to tuck themselves in, and they literally roll out of the party by the skin of their teeth. They almost die. Again, the flies contact the spider clan and whatnot, whatever, and they're like, oh, let's get together. Well, this time the spider was smart. This, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is where the spider web was created. The fly comes to visit. Meanwhile, the spider clan already has the information that they need to know, so they build the web to protect themselves. The flies come and they get caught up in the web, and the spiders eat them. And the gist of it is, when you get a red flag, don't be foolish. And when you have the information that you have about people, places, and things, don't be foolish and let down your guard, because you could be like the spider clan. You got away the first time by the skin of your teeth. And that's why the wheel is also a part of one of the symbologies of the letter of the year, the wheel, because there's, the spider turned itself. If you ever look at spiders, family, when they get wet, and it's only hot water, but in any wet environment, they turn into a little ball. They bring their legs in towards themselves, and they look like a little wheel. So that's why that's another symbology of the letter of the year as well. So it's like you have red flags and information. Don't be idealistic in nature, because they done already showed you everything that they need to show you. Your boss has already showed you what needs to be shown. Family, friends, so on and so forth. Mars will test you. Mercury will test your spiritual software. How much have you learned?
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, how much have you learned in the cosmic school of Gemini and Sagittarius? It all ties in.
Yes, it ties in. It ties into the next message for the Sag moon, which its South Node is Gemini, says. It ties into what you just said. Because this is a strong, attracting moon time. You have to, if you are not trained in ceremony, then be very careful about what you're doing. If you're not being keen, if you're just moving with your emotions on something, flip that. Because this moon time activates a very strong energy field of attraction, that whatever you're doing or saying, you're going to get it back multiple times. Multiple times. So you want to just keep everything simple, simplified. That Saturn, keep a moderation and balance. Don't do a whole lot of stuff you have no clue about doing. If you're getting red flags, pay attention. If you're hanging out with people you know you shouldn't be hanging out with, if you're constantly forgiving, you know, that Neptunian thing, it's only 11 degrees in Neptune, and then we got Saturn 14 degrees and Pluto 17 degrees. So we've got this kind of stuff going on. They're very close. If you are one that's constantly saying, oh, let me just give you another chance, then what are you attracting? What are you laying yourself open to? Because this is a very powerful, powerful karmic time, extremely. And you're going to get whatever it is you open yourself to.
And on the flip side of what you just said about attracting in a good and bad way, well, in a good way, in a manifestation way, I notice, and I've always done this, and I know you've always done this, when you speak, that's alchemy. L.A. New is magic. Believe it or not, family. You will literally see synchronicities in the universe through numbers, people, places, and things. You'll say, because this energy is so heavy in the veils between spirit and people's growth, spirit is helping people tremendously. You'll see Egun synchronicities. They'll literally send you a human being to comfort you when the energy is heavy if you speak it. I mean, all kinds of things. You'll see numbers of synchronicities. You'll get a connection that you didn't expect. It's like synchronicities galore. Also in the dream time, the dreamscape, you'll have a hunch about something, and you'll have major dreams that will give you a hunch about something. Pay attention, because Neptune is also the house of hunches, of deep hunches. Mm-hmm. It's the house of illusion, delusion. So then, again, if you've been honing in on your spiritual tools and you're really sensitive, which I know a lot of people are, someone will say something to you that doesn't feel right on the inside, and you go home and you meditate on that, you will get the answer for real, for real. That's how deep this time has been.
It is. And so you do have to work it. You have to work it sensibly. You have to work it at your level of understanding. And so the best way of doing that is just positive prayer, positive speech, positive action. And then
you can't sleep. So what were you going to say, sis?
And I was saying, in that way, you can't go wrong.
You totally can't go wrong. And if you ain't getting no sleep, I feel y'all. Because I just won't say. Mars is in the house of sleep, so when it goes backwards, especially people who have their Mars in like Sagittarius or the planet that it's already in now, Scorpio, you're going to be messed up in the game until August. Huh. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, you'll get up. Are you awake at night?
Oh, my God. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
And I'm trying to remember, sis, when we had this transit or right after, because I remember there was a period of time where literally we would be up all night. We would probably take a nap, and then I would be online and I would see you, and then I'd be talking to Oba until 6 in the morning. I mean, it was crazy at one point because everybody was it was just a very nocturnal time, and I have a feeling that this summer is sort of kind of going to be like that. Because research and the whole essence of the metaphysical is on blast right now. It is on full speed ahead. Indeed. So, and also, we can't forget the summer solstice. I forgot
We'll
about
have
that.
to come back on that one. It's just too much. It's too much.
Yeah, man. So
Too much.
you know what? We should talk about that on another show, and maybe bring out our grimoires and stuff like that, and talk about things to do, because after this full moon, just put on your calendars, family, you have the summer solstice. So we have a full moon in Sag, 29 degrees, and I think a day after, we have the summer solstice. Remember, solstices are like doorways, literally. So I put a post up a couple days ago telling people that between now and the next full moon, I don't care. And I said certain signs because it does matter on your degree. I say everybody manifest in the positive light as much as possible, because just as the dark can show up, positivity can show up. And that whole Egun gig, be on point with that, because Egun and them are on point for real, for real. All you got to do is speak it. The energy is so powerful right now that, you know, it's manifesting and things are coming full force. And if you feel like you're going on a teeter-totter, ignore it. Let come up to the surface what needs to come up, because that's the essence of this Gemini energy. And this Mars essence going backwards. And also you feeling tired along with that, because your stamina deals with Mars as well. So flow like water is the best thing I can say. If you feel angry, do something constructive, but let it come onto the surface. If you feel whatever you feel, so it can be cleared. By the time we move into this next portal, just don't sweep it under the rug and be ideal and unauthentic.
Right.
Because it will really slap you upside the head, you know what I'm saying? Saturn is not playing. And then you have our friend Jupiter. We ain't even talked about that.
No, I said I got to zero in. I got to zero in, because we can go. There's so much room for expansive conversation on so many levels, and pulling all of it in, and we'd be like talking for like the next 5 hours.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, we can't do that on the air, but we've got that Jupiter aspect with Sag in itself. You know, that's that archetype of Abatala and Ochosi combined. Wow, I'll tell you, let me tell everyone another thing that they can pay attention to, because of the strong attracting expression happening, vibration happening with this moon time that goes beyond the 30 days. This is like a really good time to like purposely connect with very positive people. Make sure that you're doing things that are very healthy-minded, and being around healthy-minded individuals that can really bring a lot of balance to you, and thus you to them. So really purposely just, you know, we're so used to, in this generation now, generational generation, of just constantly pointing out all the terrible things that we're feeling, and that this happened to me and that happened to me, and et cetera, et cetera. It almost becomes like our new drug. You know, well, my experience is worse than your experience type thing. And this is a good time, good moon time to cut that, to consciously work on cutting that. Because trust me, if you really talk to people who have traveled, who have come here from other places, talk to people from a couple of a generation or two ago. We don't have it as that. Not negating anybody's experience, because your experience is yours and it's valid. But this is a really good time. We're talking about Sagittarius. We're talking about a higher thinking process as opposed to the lower thinking process. Sagittarius is not only generous but very appreciative. So, again, I said earlier, look at Sagittarius. Look at that Abatala energy. Study that. See what it's about. See how you connect to it and what part of it is not connecting to you, thus maybe you're blocking that. And really flip it and change things. Because this is such a powerful moon time that you can really attract so many good things. Let's attract a different way of thinking. Have a more positive way of thinking.
You're on point. We can manifest, man. This year, the duality of like good, juicy goodness and like, you know, craziness is equal. Meaning that I know for me, you can manifest both things. A lot of good things have percolated. A lot of seeds are being birthed right now and activated. And just believe, family. That's really the gist of it. Just believe and stay on the path. And I don't know, sis, if you've experienced this, but I know within myself, I have all these crazy planets and stuff like that. I have like maybe 4 planets in Sag, and my Mars is naturally in Scorpio.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm like I am going through it. But one of the good things is that on the inside, I just can't tolerate certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like you were saying, be around good people and people who are trying to grow. Family, you'll get that urge where you just don't want to, you don't even want to deal with people. If they're not, and I'm not trying to be shady, I'm just keeping it real. Your inner urge will just tell you, okay, you'll put people in certain boxes so you can deal with them in certain type of ways. And then when it's not beneficial or percolating for both, for the essence of spiritual growth, you'll know what to do. But it's shifting. And whether you want to or not, you internally won't be able, you'll have to take action because on the inside you will want to bust out. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making sense, but I know how.
It makes perfect sense. To me, it makes perfect sense because that's been building for me since Saturn moved into Sagittarius, 2014. Again, you're talking, that's just another layer of what's not authentic you have to let go. If your core value, your core system, your being, your heart center is a good, positive person, regardless of what's going on or what you're experiencing or expressing at that time, if you are a core, your core is very good. With this transition that happened in 2014, manifesting continuously, this is now a key point, this moon time, where it's a pivotal moon of that same expression. You're going to notice that certain times, certain moon times, and as we move through the years, that you're just getting tired. You're getting tired of certain kind of behaviors and certain kind of personality. You just don't have
certain
time
type of
for
people, you just don't. You don't have time for it. And even people you've known for a long time, family, your growth, they'll drop off. Your growth will be so exponential that, like, it's not. Well, there'll be some people you just don't want to be around. For real. Literally, like, just don't even want to mess with them. And then there are people that you may have known for a long time, and, like, your energy changes towards them, not in a bad way, but you just have certain realizations that, yeah, what you thought this was or what you think it is not what it really is because you're at 2 different growth levels. And that's fine, but the dynamic of relationships will change so you can grow. Because let me tell you one thing again, Saturn does not like things that stagnate your growth. And that could be your family, that could be friends you've had for a long time. The relationship will be altered. It doesn't necessarily mean that it'll completely cease and desist, but the relationship will change. You won't have certain urges to interact with them in certain ways because the energy is different. It's not a time for babysitting, in other words. Let me just keep it real and be blunt.
Yeah, it's real.
The babysitting time is like really over. So, like, you know, people who don't want to create and expand, you're just not going to, on the inside, have tolerance for that. You're just going to be like, okay, I got to go do my thing. You'll be the Sagittarius little adventure and, you know, keep it moving. You're not going to run over anybody, but, you know, you just have to be able to create boundaries so you can expand yourself because, again, with that Saturn and Jupiter, expand the details of things, and if people aren't about it, You just internally won't have the tolerance for them. And you'll be fine, you know, with not dealing with them. They may wonder why. But you need to, you know, examine that and, you know, work on those relationships and within yourself and alter that and really look at why do you feel this way. All kinds of stuff is going to come up, family. I think it's a wonderful time. I know I'm rambling, but there's just so much to talk about in this juicy time. I'm actually excited.
You're on it. You're on point. You're not really. You're on point because this was leading up to, you know, where our time is running out. But as we move towards the end of this conversation on air, let's continue on that vein of thought about summing this all up. We've talked about many things, but now how can we utilize this energy of Sagittarius, this moon time, these 30 days plus? What can we do? What can our audience do? What can our family do to utilize this? And so, again, understand this kind of energy. So you were saying, right on point, that, you know, people are going to get tired. Again, please understand that though this is a 3-year course where this energy is very strong, the moon time, when the moon hits certain positions, there's certain pivotal points that there's a burst of that strong energy or that expression. And so that's what this moon time is. That's what we're talking about. So we laid it out and told you all kinds of things. You know, if you don't have a passport, get a passport. You know, let's keep it real. Let's pay attention. Definitely, if you're indecisive, Sagittarius, you know, I keep talking about Saturn. Sagittarius, that Apatla Sagittarius energy, moon time, will bring that to the forefront. Am I right or am I wrong? It will make you pay attention to your inability and or ability to be decisive as opposed to indecisive and so on and so forth.
You're on point with that.
Mm-hmm.
You're on point because we look at the bigger picture and we're like, screw the details. No. Saturn's like, no, sweetie. No, no, no. Oh, no. We're going to look at the details of all this. We're going to look at this. You ain't going to be a fire sign. We're going to use a different alchemy. We're going to use the pinnacle. Now, I'm speaking in terms of, like, you know, the tarot. Whenever you see the pinnacles in the tarot card, it means the earth sign, grounded, practical realm of reality. Fire and air and water, we can, you know, it gets a little crazy. We have to use a different alchemy. How can you ground in your higher knowledge into the practical way of reality? How can you have faith? Sagittarius is all about faith and intuition. Are you using your faith and intuition in your real life? When you go to an interview and you're sitting in that interview chair and it feels horrible on the inside, but you're saying to yourself, oh, yeah, I need to get a job so I can live. But does your intuition tell you it's the right thing? You're going to be asked to do things that are uncomfortable because it's a different way of being and thinking. Is it logical for you to get this job? Yes, it may be a good job, but what about, have you added up all the practical things that are going to fit with your life? What doesn't fit with your life? What are you going to be sacrificing? This is what this is at. Look at the details of things. Yep. Have faith. Talk to Egun. Throw. Whatever you do, consult with spirit. That's what that Sagittarius thing is too. Intuition. Some don't feel right. Girl, I got my 4 quarters. I'm like, only just wanted to do okay at the side of the building. Okay, girl. I'm like, yo, Eglin, I got a question to ask. I've done that many times. You know what I'm saying? Out in public. I don't care.
You, me, and many others.
Okay, hello, goodbye. I'm like, yo, check it out. Hold on, I'll be right back. Go in the ladies' bathroom. I'll be like, only to do one to do later. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, I need something answered. Is this person trustworthy? They're like, no. You need to do an about face. Is this person lying? Yes. What?
So it's talking about trust and spirit.
That's right. That's right. And I'm laughing because you know what? People do a good talk, but when it comes to walking the walk, that's a whole nother ball of wax. And I'm just gonna say an example. You tell people, and I'm gonna speak from a priestly Orisa thing, way of being. People are like, oh, and I say it. Sometimes you have to use cultural language that other people understand. So I say I'm a shaman because that's like the popularized way. So they think you're a normal person. No, sweetie, this is a different hierarchy. You don't understand that, but I understand that, and that's all we need to know. Something go down at the job or wherever. No, we're doing the priestly thing. That's my role 24/7. I live this. If I'm going to do something and I'm dealing with, I'm throwing. It doesn't matter because I'm a priest. I don't just wear my priesthood and then, put it to bed. No, when I'm at work, when I'm walking down the street, when I'm at the nail salon, all that. I'm keying it in. Oh, I'm not just doing a little ritual in the morning and then, or the afternoon or the evening and then I'm done. I'm doing my spiritual time. No, sweetie, it's all the time. So am I going to be of the world, you know what I'm saying, or am I going to be of the world, or I'm going to be the priestly person that I'm really supposed to be? And this is what I mean. Like I said before with the job, I'm going to the job that goes against my ethical, moral standard. But because I got to be in the mundane, in the mainstream, I got to go with the okie doke. No. Saturn and Sagittarius will challenge you. You sitting in the chair, you feel on the inside, and Edwin's talking to you at the interview. The guy sitting across from you, don't take this job because A, B, C, and D is going to happen to you. But see, you being all fake, and you're not bringing that spiritual knowledge in your real practical world. You end up taking the job, and then you end up being slave driven. Y'all know what I'm talking about? You didn't. While Edwin was, as you were sitting in the interview, and Edwin was like, girl, oh, and you know what I'm saying? You didn't go to the bathroom after or before and be like, is this Eboda? You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, you go with the mainstream okie doke. So what I'm really saying is, if you're priestly and spiritual, be that. Live that. Stop playing. Because you know what? You're going to get yourself in trouble. Don't stick your water in one foot in the water and wiggling around and pretend that you're all spiritual and wear the clothes and the beads or whatever. But then when, shit hits the fan, you can't do anything and you're not consulting and you're not using your head and you're not being priestly, you're not being humane.
No, sorry.
I'm off my soapbox, but that's what that really means. Get your ducks in a row. Stop playing games, know your value, and know the hierarchy of your head.
That's good.
Because you're dealing with someone who's interviewing you, but you got Ache on your head. Your hierarchy's higher than theirs. Hello, goodbye.
Hello, goodbye.
And you can see beyond the veil. Okay, hello, goodbye. You can see beyond the veil, but they're normal people. They're like, they think they're somebody in this world, which, yes, they are. But your domain is the spiritual one. It's the one that no one else can see, that they think doesn't exist, but you're getting information that they don't know you can get. Use it. This is also what Orisa talks about, using Eleda, not just the one in the mainstream, but your spiritual ways. Oh, I take a bath and then I'm refreshed, or I light a candle. No, sweetie, let's divine. Let's get on the broom and do what we got to do. See, you done got me sweating. I'm standing up pacing in my house. Everyone's like, say this before you leave. I'm like, okay. But we just have to keep, it is the moon of the Sagittarius, and I'm
It is the moon of the Sagittarius. Listen, again, that energy, it talks about honesty, truth, and freedom.
I'm just keeping it real,
So you're keeping it real. You're being truthful. And we do not have to be like the devil card. We don't have to deal with that.
No, we do not.
We can have freedom. We can be free. Just ask. Just ask. That which is higher than yourself.
Indeed. Girl, let me get off this phone because I was about to say something else that will start another rampage. But yes, no,
we'll rampage off the phone. We're
spiritual people, for real. We got to get this right. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Yes, girl. You talking about, oh, well, I'm this, I'm that. Well, you know what? In a point of crisis is when you really find out who you are and what your weakness is. and whether you have faith. And that's why these portals are so damn wide, because Egun is like, just call my name. Spirit is like, just call my name, and we are there to help you. But you are not living in your truth. You are not creating boundaries. You are taking less than what you deserve, and you know damn good and well that you deserve better. Why are you knocking yourself down to this mundane level with the rest of everybody else? You have spiritual tools that are real in nature.
Well, all right, not shy.
And that's all I'm going to say on that, because now I'm going to drink my café con leche. But believe, family, believe. Me and sis are going to be on, we're going to do these recordings as much as we can, because at this point, we're all on the same boat rowing. And we're going to where we need to go. We're creating the right roads of prosperity on all levels of reality. It's all about the truth. Nobody's alone here. We're just keeping it real. We're giving you sticky notes to watch out for. So when you see things, or you see things arise in yourself, in your chest, and you get a certain feeling, you can tap into the right thing. Because let me tell you something. Anytime I see Orisha, and they like, oh, we don't want nothing. We don't want anything. We just want LA da. That's scary. That's scary. They like, we don't want it. We don't want nothing from y'all.
Mm-hmm.
That means something. They're like, yo, we're not going to save you. We got to wake up.
You have to save yourself.
That's right. They're not going to save you. They're like, yo, you got to save yourself. Meanwhile, people think that they're getting osobo from other people when it's actually them. They're creating their own osobo. Yo, we can't help you. You're not using LEDA. That's a part of your Ache. It's a part of your alchemy. But anyway, I love you, girl. It was fun being on here. You know, we could do this 10 hours. We could do a marathon.
We can. Oh. We can. You know, we never know where we're going to go when we do our show. We just connect, and we allow it to flow. And that's the beautiful thing. And Egun always comes through somewhere, either in the beginning, usually in the middle or the end, to give a serious message. This whole conversation is all about messages. Take your time and go in the archive of it. Replay it and listen. Don't take things personal. Once you take things personal, you stop listening, and when you stop listening, you stop growing, and you set yourself up for failure. So be open, pay attention, because we're going to be back again. We're going to put some more fire on it, some more water on the heated rocks. Steam the place up a little bit, because it's for our own good that we just put it out there and talk about it. I had a wonderful time with you. As always, you are my sister there, my water sister, my sister. I just love you very much. All of you, we are so glad that you took time to listen to us. This is pre-recorded. If you all have any questions that you all would like for us to address on the next show, please reach out to us. You can reach out to me on AstrorisaMoon.com. I'm on Facebook. Dia is on Facebook. Send us any questions you want us to talk about, address. If you have any ideas you would like us to discuss, please let us know, because we're all in this together. As my sister said, we're all rowing in the same boat. I want to thank you all for listening, and we will be back at the next pivotal cosmic point of time. And remember, to find your truest self, follow the moon.